The U.S. pauses bomb shipments to Israel.
It's just another way of trying to tell an ally how to conduct the war.
Over concerns in Rafah. Governor Ron DeSantis speaks out.
A lot of really nasty anti-Semitism.
On the student protest in university campuses. And a little boy is the first in the world.
I don't know, I could experience the world better.
To try an experimental treatment that could be a medical breakthrough. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Kenneth Bueno.
And I'm Julian Davis. Today's Thursday, May 9th, 2024.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami. This is Caplin News.
Hitting pause over Rafah concerns. President Joe Biden ordering a pause on a weapons shipment to Israel, threatening not to send them military equipment if they invade Rafah, Gaza's last sanctuary.
As CNN's Cheryl Hubbard reports, this comes on a morning that has seen an Israeli offense in the outskirts of the southern Gaza city, renewed negotiations in Cairo, and Congress discussing anti-Semitism.
The U.S. paused a planned shipment of 3,500 bombs to Israel amid concerns over their potential use in a ground operation in Rafah without a plan for the civilians sheltering there. One administration official told the Washington Post, quote, Israel should not launch a major ground operation in Rafah, where more than 1 million people are sheltering with nowhere else to go. An IDF spokesperson said Israel will not back down.
Either Hamas unconditionally surrenders, Jim, or we go in with military force. Now, I don't see any way that Hamas is actually going to surrender. So if you're expecting us to surrender our safety and security to Hamas because they're hiding behind their civilians, then that's an unreasonable expectation.
Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says the shipment pause is an overstep by the U.S.
The delay of shipment of weapons to Israel is just another way of trying to tell an ally how to conduct the war.
How Israel is conducting the war against Hamas is a major point of contention. Protests have erupted on college campuses throughout the U.S. And on Wednesday, Republicans led a hearing on Capitol Hill over the concern of increasing anti-Semitism in K-12 schools. Only leaders from school districts and liberal cities were selected to speak at that hearing.
Our young students with ties to either Israel or Gaza, some deeply traumatized by the horror they see and hear, sit side by side in our Berkeley classrooms. They are friends.
I'm Cheryl Hubbard reporting.
A tragic story coming from the Tampa area this morning as a woman is alleged to have been killed from her boyfriend before later killing herself. The victim, Kelby's Avila, was found dead from a gunshot wound by deputies at around 7 a.m. yesterday. Detectives determined he was killed by his girlfriend, 58-year-old Mayra Pacheco Nunez, who fled in a vehicle. Nunez would later shoot and kill herself when police made a traffic stop.
An undocumented migrant living in Lake Worth Beach is currently being held in a Palm Beach County jail after being accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting an 11-year-old. As WPTV's Todd Wilson reports, the man was the girl's neighbor.
It was 9 at night, and the mom came into my house saying that something happened with her daughter and Marvin. So we came outside to ask what happened, and so I asked the girl what happened, and she said that something did happen.
Hermencia Vasquez is talking about a situation that happened Saturday between her brother-in-law, 20-year-old Marvin Perez Lopez, and an 11-year-old girl.
I asked Marvin what would he do if she got pregnant and if he would be responsible, and he said yes.
In the arrest affidavit, it says Lopez lives next door to the minor. It goes on to say Lopez, he grabbed her hand and said, "Get into the van." It continues by saying he started touching her and she didn't like it. According to police, Lopez had non-consensual sex with the 11-year-old girl. Lopez is an undocumented immigrant from Guatemala. According to authorities, he left Guatemala in early January, crossed through Mexico, turned himself into Border Patrol, and was given a court date for some time in 2027 and then released. He found his way to Florida at the end of January this year.
And now he commits a crime where he held an 11-year-old girl against her will, sexually assaulted her. Right? That's a capital crime. We grabbed him He's confessed to the crime.
So why was he given a court date for 2027? Immigration attorney Richard Huber says he knows the answer.
So the courts are overwhelmed for sure. That's the answer.
He says vetting at the border is poor.
They know that they will get a hearing date many years from now. And during that time, just with that hearing notice, for example, they can get a driver's license. If they seek asylum, they can then also get a work permit. And nobody's actually looking at the merits as to whether they actually have a legitimate or a valid asylum claim.
Lopez is being held at the Palm Beach County Jail. He's charged with kidnapping a victim under 13 and sexual battery of a victim under the age of 12. In Palm Beach County, Todd Wilson, WPTV News Channel 5.
Florida aid groups organizing to aid the people in the Brazilian state of Rio Grande do Sul undergoing mass floodings. The floods began last week, caused by unexpectedly heavy rains. They've destroyed highways and bridges in the state, killing about 100 people and leaving over 163,000 displaced. The Florida aid groups were stationed in Doral, gathering supplies such as clothing and other items.
Florida A&M University's Board of Trustees will meet to investigate the mysterious background of a nearly $250 million donation. Little is known about the trust or the 30-year-old donor, Gregory Jeremy, except that he is a hemp farmer in Texas. His donation is the largest made to any historically black college or university. It also nearly doubles Florida A&M's entire endowment.
As campus protests continue to take effect across the country, Governor Ron DeSantis responds to the arrest of several protesters at the University of Florida. WCJB's Kayla Lewis has more on how pro-Palestine activists feel about DeSantis' visit.
You also see really disrespectful behavior.
At the end of April, UF officials sent out a list of what is allowed and what is not at protests. 9 protesters were arrested in late April, 6 of whom were students.
You have a lot of elite colleges and universities that have allowed themselves to become overrun with encampments, graffiti, as well as a lot of really nasty anti-Semitism.
He thanked UF leadership for disbanding the encampment, and he criticized the administration of other universities around the country for failing to disperse protesters. One protester says she is disappointed with DeSantis' leadership.
We autonomously protested peacefully, and we're continuing to do that. So the movement has not died. It's still going on and still going strong.
DeSantis also brought up House Bill 1473, which he signed to increase security measures at schools. One supporter says more security is a good thing.
Freedom of expression. No matter your point of view, hey, it's a free country. Your point of view is welcome, whether you agree or disagree. It's a free country. Free speech.
DeSantis also mentioned the executive order he signed in January, which allows Jewish students to easily transfer to Florida universities to avoid anti-Semitism. Now the UF Divestment Coalition is calling on the university to terminate its partnerships with weapons and technology manufacturers connected to the war in Gaza.
That was WCJB's Kayla Lewis reporting. The president of UF says the university will continue to uphold the freedom of speech and assembly while also upholding the law.
Former President Donald Trump's youngest son, Barron Trump, is chosen as an at-large Florida delegate at the Republican National Convention. 18-year-old Barron joins other family members who were also selected, like Donald Trump Jr. and Tiffany Trump. The Republican National Committee will hold its convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in July. Donald Trump says he will also announce his running mate around that time.
After an embarrassment to the start of their playoff series, the Panthers try to beat the Bruins in more ways than one.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
I want to help people like me.
A groundbreaking treatment for a child with vision problems. Newsbreak will be back in just 2 minutes.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other
on a deeper level. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
A groundbreaking treatment coming into focus for a child with vision problems. Jacob Begum is 11 years old, and he's the first person to ever receive an experimental eye treatment.
It was his parents who first felt he would be a good candidate. Then he traveled from his home near Detroit to the Philadelphia area. And earlier this spring, doctors improved his vision using gene therapy.
Jacob says he looks forward to being able to play baseball and ride roller coasters. We move on to the Bruins and the Panthers. Panthers are heading up to Boston this morning with renewed confidence after flipping the script against the Bruins in Game 2 of their playoff series. Boston would get one on the board to start the game, but the Cats responded immediately with an avalanche of 6 unanswered goals, while also holding them to a near 15-minute drought without a shot attempt. The final score was Panthers 6, Bruins 1. A late game brawl between Matthew Tkachuk and David Pastrnak proved that there was no love lost on both sides. The Cats will look to return the favor and seal Game 3 in Boston tomorrow night.
The Miami Marlins series' long battle against the juggernaut Los Angeles Dodgers is finally over. Teoscar Hernandez drove in all 3 LA runs in a game that only took an hour and 55 minutes, marking the shortest contest at Dodger Stadium in over 2 decades. The Dodgers extend their overall winning streak to a season-high 7 games and has won 14 of its last 16. The final score was Los Angeles 3, Marlins 1. The Marlins head home to play the Phillies on Friday. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Historic outing in an inter-city matchup between both of Miami's universities as FIU beat UM for the first time since 2018. FIU started off hot, scoring 3 runs in the first inning. The outing looked to be going down to the wire, but senior outfielder Jeff LaCory broke it open when he smashed a 3-run homer over 400 feet over the wall in the 7th inning. The final score was Panthers 9, Hurricanes 7. The Panthers will look to rally this momentum when they host Sam Houston and the Bearcats tomorrow night. Now we take a break. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
Really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes.
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go.
really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes?
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Pantotech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Julian Davis.
I'm Kenneth Bueno. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.